What's going on, everybody? Back here from EA Play, live from Los Angeles. It's the post-game podcast, Mark and Corey. We are joined today with two of the members of the Titanfall 2 development team from Respawn Entertainment. We have Drew and Mohammad. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Awesome.
Great, that is good to hear. So, of course, we're all here because there was the big debut of Titanfall 2 at this event. Had some playable time with it. We have some questions we want to ask you just about the game and the development of the game, so we can hop right on into it. So first of all, the traversal in the first Titanfall was kind of like a revolutionary thing in the first-person shooter space. How has Titanfall 2 built on that foundation, and what new options can players expect from the game?
Well, I mean, the one that smacks you right in the face of the from the multiplayer trailer is the Grapple Hook. It's something that we added really early on in development because it's the kind of thing that if you don't do it right, it will absolutely break the game.
It did break the game.
It did break the game for a long period of time. I just felt really bad for all the level designers because after we did Titanfall and we did 9 maps as DLC, they had really gotten comfortable with making really awesome Titanfall maps. And then it was like, nope, you just spent 3 years learning how to do that. Let's throw all those lessons out the window. So yeah, Grapple's awesome. It's the kind of thing where you can grapple anywhere. You gain momentum with it. It's not just like a laser that you like slide along. It actually has physics, so you can wrap it around stuff. You can change your direction mid-flight. It's totally different.
All your hopes about doing Attack on Titan are
pretty spot on.
Totally, you can do it.
Yeah. We've also done stuff like we added like a slide that actually uses the jump jets of the pilot to actually gain speed by sliding. So it's really awesome. If you know someone's around a corner, slide around the corner, keep that momentum, turn 90 degrees and start taking them out. The game feels very fast, very fluid. Feels almost like you get in like a zone. It's kind of like almost like surfing. You're riding the wave and you're always trying to get the perfect line. Titanfall 1 is very similar, but now you've got a bigger wave with nicer, longer lines.
Right.
Yeah, and the actual, even the core movement system, like, it's virtually identical. Anybody who's played the first one will have no problem playing the second one, but we actually made it even easier to wall run and to connect the wall runs. We actually hooked up a controller feedback system that we could see how people were playing it, and things we didn't even realize they were trying to do with the controller that might have been intuitive to them, like that were actually hindering them a little bit. We actually like redesigned the behind the scenes like code to like make that stuff even easier to pull off, but it's not going to feel any different to people who've already played the game.
Yeah, and we can attest to that. And going back to the Grapple Hook, one of the first things I did was like, okay, so what can I attach to? It's basically everything. Attached to the transport, other Titans, other players, walls. Like it's incredible.
The attaching other players really brings like that Scorpion Mortal Kombat feel. That's it felt amazing. Speaking in terms of the grappling hook, you guys obviously have added this. It feels like, to me at least, playing it early on, I always want to be, controlling that. How do you make the other classes just as enticing? What have you done with some of the other, pilots and to make them just as fun to play with?
So each pilot tactical ability is designed in a way to facilitate a certain play style. Mm-hmm. So the grapple is really good if you want to be fast, you want to be very mobile, you want to get vertical really quick. But that's not what everyone wants to do. So the designers took it upon themselves as a challenge to make every ability as cool or as useful in their own way. So like Pulse Blade is one of the other ones in this build here at EA Play, where you throw a kunai and then it starts doing radar pulses. You can see enemies through walls. And it actually works for your whole teammates, so they can see enemies through walls. Okay. And then if they get a kill on one of those guys, you're actually going to get assist bonus for it. So for someone who really likes to be cautious, maybe lock down a hard point or something like that, it's extremely useful. And so it's stuff like that it's not just how do you dumb down grapple to be like everything else, how do you make everything else awesome enough to stand up to grapple.
Sounds great to me.
So there were kind of two key criticisms around the first Titanfall. One was the lack of a true developed campaign mode, and the other was the lack of a real progression system. They talk in the two trailers that are out, and Vince talked about it during the presentation, that these are things that have been addressed in Titanfall 2. For each one, how have they been kind of looked at and addressed and built? What can players expect from those two?
Yeah, so I'll take over the single player one, obviously.
Okay.
So yeah, we really listen to our community all the time. Like after we launched, like he was saying, we supported the game for like 9 months, like listening to what they said, improving the game, patches, lots of stuff for free. part of that was, like you said, they wanted a single player, and we love making single player, actually. Like, we're ex Call of Duty and God of War devs who love that kind of stuff. So from day one, we were like, you know what makes a Titanfall level? What makes a good Titanfall level? And we weren't sure, but we just iterated for months and months and months until we like honed down like the most purest forms of like, I don't know, I'd say 10 or 12 just really impactful gameplay elements that you're not going to be able to play. You're going to get that experience in any other game, to be honest. So that's the kind of experience we wanted to bring, and I think we pulled it off.
Yeah, it's pretty cool watching that process as a non-designer. The whole prototype period of development was, like you said, trying to find what they had a chance to define what a Titanfall single-player game can be. Like, we had this cool universe, we had cool mechanics, but now, okay, let's craft it into a single-player experience. And it wasn't like, oh, we have this grandiose story we want to tell as the starting point. It was, what's going to be fun to do with the controller in your hands? And so they were building like these bite-sized little gameplay prototypes, and they probably did over 100 of them.
Easily.
Like,
well over.
Like, it could be a 30-second thing or a 10-minute thing, but what actually grabs you, what's interesting and unique and innovative, and that was the building blocks of it. It's all built around game design, fun stuff, mechanics.
Yeah, that, like, as a development company, that's kind of how we tackle everything. We just throw every idea we have out there, and instead of like talking about it in a meeting, we just do it. We just do it. Put the controller in somebody's hands, have them play it, and if it's fun, we make it even better. We refine it. If it's not fun, well, we either refine it some more or just trash it. Like, we just do that so many times. And it's funny you mentioned the lore. We didn't start with the lore. For sure, we started with the gameplay, but that was something funny we noticed from the community. Like, they actually
loved it.
They love the lore. Yeah. So we went deeper into it, actually. So we kind of expanded like internally our universe and our universe Bible, and we kind of came up with this, I would say, this epic sci-fi adventure that like spans a lot, but it's all wrapped around this very just intimate experience. That's the bond between one pilot and his Titan.
You know, it's interesting you speak on the Titan. I was wondering, you know, obviously in multiplayer, the Titan, it kind of spawns down after a certain amount of time in a match. How does the Titan exactly incorporate into the single player? Like, is it always with you? Is it something that comes at times? Is that something you not want to reveal yet? Like, I'm not sure how deep you want to go into that, but...
We're not going too deep into it,
yeah,
but...
we want the players to play it and have fun,
yeah.
But we can't say it's a very advanced Titan. It's called the Vanguard class Titan. It's even in the lore of our game, it's one of the most advanced Titans you can get.
Awesome.
Yeah, and yeah, he's just cool.
Good. Yeah.
It's just really cool.
I mean, we're talking about this a lot, but the cool thing about it, for a Titanfall single player game, is you really do have two games you're making. You have the whole pilot game, which itself has two distinct sides. You have all the cool mobility stuff, but then all the cool combat that a pilot can do. Then you also have the Titan side of the game, and to weave these two games together into one has been it's awesome. It's totally different. You can't, like Mo said, you can't get anywhere else.
You're gonna do things in our game that you haven't ever done before.
That's awesome.
Very much looking forward to it. One thing I wanted to go back to is we had mentioned progression before in multiplayer. I just want to get a little more detail on how the progression system is going to work, what people are going to be, what can they expect to unlock or experience in the game through progression.
So like you said, one of the big pieces of feedback we received loud and clear from our fans was the game was fun, they wanted more to it.
More,
tons more. And it's not just purely numbers. They don't want just more of the same thing. They want both depth to what they're doing and a reason to master it and ways to specialize. So the lead multiplayer designer is Todd Allerman, who joined us shortly after Titanfall 1 was wrapped. And he was actually worked with a lot of us back at Infinity Ward on Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2. And he was actually the guy who kind of spearheaded the whole leveling and FPS thing back on Modern Warfare 1. And so he spent a lot of time trying to figure out and think about an FPS progression system that is not just cookie cutter. So we're not actually going into it too much, but it's definitely different, and it's taking a lot of things in a different angle to help the game feel like it's that type of thing that you have that months and months of mastery available to you. So
Can I add something
Absolutely.
to that? So he was saying how there's like multiple different play styles that are a lot more viable, and I would like to. So he used to be like a pro Doom player, and I used to be a
Quick.
okay, Quake. Sorry, Quake.
Get it right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And I used to be a Counter-Strike player, so we are obviously like very different play styles. He's all cracked out. I'm all methodical, and like I had a real hard time playing the original Titanfall because of like its speed and everything.
Yeah.
But we both can play this new one, Titanfall 2, and we can both have fun, and our tactics both work.
Yeah.
I am a lot more methodical. I basically, if I do my job right, I can slow the game down and make people play at my pace. If he does his job right, he's too hard to hit. But it's cool that we both play and we both are successful at the game.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. You know, one of the best things I heard all week, I haven't seen a lot of people talking about it as of yet, but one thing I want to cover with our fan base is you guys announced that all the maps that you will release will be free to your community,
Yep.
which I applaud you for. That sounds fantastic to me, because more is better. But does that mean that all your DLC will be free, or is there any kind of paid model here? Like, how exactly is that working?
Yeah, we learned on the last game that when you sell maps, you fracture your community.
Mm-hmm.
You make it hard for them to play with each other, and it doesn't serve for the betterment of the people who had already spent their $60 on the game. So that's something we decided really, really, really early on was we weren't going to do anything that was going to separate our player base.
That's awesome.
And we were, as a result of that, you're like, oh, well, you're going to do some kind of crazy pay-to-win microtransaction thing. We're not doing any kind of pay-to-win as well. We're not going into what we're going to be doing aside from that. We just want to make sure everyone knows that if you buy the game, you're going to get every map and every mode that we release post-launch for free.
That's good enough to me.
Yeah. So obviously you all are excited to be welcoming PlayStation 4 players
Absolutely.
into the Titanfall universe. They have been able to kind of see from the sidelines what's going on with Titanfall. So I think the kind of question is, how do you hope to bring them into the fold and kind of catch them up to speed with people on Xbox One or PC who have been playing the game for a few years now?
Well, I don't think they're gonna have any problem, to be completely honest. Like, there's no reason that like you can't play Titanfall 2 if you hadn't played Titanfall 1 for both the single player and the multiplayer.
And that's a conscious decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're aware that one, the Xbox market has grown considerably since 2014, and we're adding in the whole PlayStation market. So while the first game did extremely well and it had a ton of players, it's only going to get bigger, and we don't want anyone to feel alienated and feel like, oh, I can't do that because I didn't play the first one. It is a marketing, probably like messaging issue to try and figure out how to welcome them in.
Yeah, as far as single player goes, like if you played the first one and like you're a big lore fan, like you'll pick up on little nuggets that we put in here and there. Like there'll be some like old characters returning for cameos and whatnot, but it's a totally new experience with many new characters. So it's not like you needed to play the old one. As far as the multiplayer goes, yeah, the old guys can jump right into it, but there's a lot more to this game. There's a lot more to learn. So they're gonna have a learning curve just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. One thing I want to go into really quickly is you guys announced, I believe, 6 different Titans. So what do the different Titans offer? What can people expect when they see their Titans for the first time when they play Titanfall 2?
So the Titans in Titanfall 2 are different from a very design-centric point of view. Each one is extremely unique from each other, and they are all designed to cater towards a different playstyle. So the 2 that are in this build are Ion and Scorch. And to give you an example of what I mean by they're unique and why we did it, let's take Scorch. So Scorch is a descendant of the ogre from the last game. He's big, he's heavy, and he's all about fire. So everything he does is about burning things. His main weapon is a thermite launcher. It's like a mortar round that then it smolders and burns. But he also has this really cool ability where he can throw out a gas canister, spew out gas, and then light it on fire with his thermite launcher, or his flame wall, or his core ability, or whatever.
Or even his friends.
Or his friends, yeah. So all these abilities and weapons on Scorch were designed in a way to kind of combo with each other and work like in unison. And you can't do that when, let's say, you could put a random weapon or ability on him. What this does for the player who's using him is it gets your brain thinking in these ways, kind of like a Street Fighter character. You start thinking about combos and how you're going to attack various characters. And from the other side, when you see Scorch on the horizon, you know exactly what he can do, what his weaknesses are, and what he can do to you. So they're all designed in a way to facilitate extremely different playstyles.
Yeah, it actually reminds me a lot of Overwatch in a very good way. So it's a game that everyone's talking about this summer. Kind of feels very similar in that regard. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are kind of coming to the same conclusion on how to figure out some of these problems on combat readability, depth to gameplay, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's been a discussion we've been having like for the last couple of months, like how that game is going to kind of shift and change. And of course, like, you know, you guys have done your own thing this whole time, but it's interesting that like it's all kind of cresting at once, and obviously MOBAs have a lot to do with that, and TF2 and things like that. The demo here features a mode which I don't think was in Titanfall 1, which is kind of like the bounty hunt mode. We weren't, like, we kind of figured out what it was by playing it, but I think as the one mode that's been shown, what is that all about? How exactly does that work for, you know, that way people can kind of know what we've been able to play?
So bounty hunt is like Attrition 2.0. Attrition was the the standard for Titanfall, the original game. But we've changed it up a little bit. So last time in Attrition, it was your team with friendly AI versus enemy team with their AI. Now what it is your team versus enemy team versus a third AI-controlled faction called the Remnant Fleet. And it's a wave-based game mode. So the very first wave is just like grunts and specters. And then once you wipe them out, a bounty titan drops in, and he's super aggressive, has tons of health, and it's kind of like this three-way fight to take him down. Whoever gets the final executing blow gets the bounty. And then you go to the second wave, more difficult AI show up, you get 2 bounty titans, and then it progresses on through 3 waves. We chose it for EA Play because people generally only have like a quick 10-minute session, and it's really target rich. You don't have to understand what's really going on. You don't have to be like, you know, super
kill everything on screen.
We played it a bunch of times. Like, I don't know exactly how this works, but
I'm
like,
killing
it's fun.
stuff. And I'm doing that. Yeah. So
there's pilots. And, hey, whatever.
It's a little bit more, I guess you call it like a casual mode, like, because it's not super objective based. It's not super hardcore, but it is fun. It is a pick up and play mode, and it kind of showcases a lot of what Titanfall has to offer.
So there been like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it actually serves to like kind of one of the mantras we had for this game, which is easy to learn, hard to master. Like if you play with a grappling hook, you can even tell that it was like super easy to pick up, but you realize there's a lot more depth to that.
Yeah.
So like you were saying, even the mode has a lot more depth to it, but you don't right off the bat. You can just start killing stuff and feel good about it. The whole game is kind of like that right now.
So can we expect similar like nips and tucks to the other modes that we're used to?
Yep,
So
absolutely.
like just little tweaks and kind of different takes on them.
There's maybe a couple that are coming back untouched, and there's some new ones that we will be going into because they're totally new.
Right.
But yeah, the whole game has had, you know, we basically took it apart and inspected every element, figured out, okay, what made this work, what wasn't working, and then we reassembled it to, you know, build what is now Titanfall 2.
Wonderful, wonderful.
You know, one last quick question before you let you guys go. You know, one thing we've been asking our developers and producers to do when they come in here and talk to us is kind of define your game in one sentence. I know we're getting a lot of lean backs in here right now. So yeah, if you could each kind of give your sole definition of what you think your game represents and how your brand is represented with Titanfall 2.
Fun?
That works. I mean, one word, period. It's kind of a sentence.
I had a smile on my face the whole time I played it, so I mean.
What do you think?
You know, that's actually not bad.
Grab bag?
Grab bag of fun.
There you go.
So it's funny.
Cheating over here. He gets one more.
So there's other assorted types of fun in the bag. but they're
we
all
try
fun.
we try and hit all the different types of players. If you are an offline player or online, even if you're online, are you a high intensity? Are you a quick match kind of guy? Do you want longer matches? Like all these things, we're trying to bring everyone into our party because we feel like with Titanfall 1 we made a game that was really fun, but not everyone was wanting to jump in.
Right.
We're trying to give everyone like an entry point so they can all enjoy the party with us.
And like you were saying, Mo, that, you know, your style of play was much more methodical. Your play style didn't really fit what the first Titanfall was trying to do, and so now you feel like you kind of are welcome. Like you have an invitation to the party, so to speak.
Absolutely. Like there's this funny term we use around the office called the fun button, where it's like, oh, did you press the fun button? Like, oh, then it works.
Yeah.
But that's a real big important thing to us. Like above anything, it's that it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've won over us. You know, we had smile ear to ear when we were playing it.
Cool.
You know, it was a blast to play. So good luck to you both on finishing up before launch. Really wish you the best success, and thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. It was
Thank
great to
you
be
all.
here.
Yeah.
Thank you.